Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our March edition of In Conversation. Only 1 month until the festival, which is so exciting. So, this will be our second last In Conversation. But today we're going to be talking about the impact of COVID-19 on the festival. And so, this dates back a while. We've been working with this for a while. But yeah, we're just going to share that information with you. So, Kate, take it away.
Okay, so super exciting since the festival's looming closer. So the first question we have is, when did you guys decide to make this a virtual festival, and what was the planning process like?
Yeah, so I started working with Blue Canoe on the festival back in June of 2020, which seems like a very long time ago now. But since our festival's in May, it was actually not the first, this will actually not be the first virtual festival. So there was already a little bit there, and I kind of had a sense that I didn't know how long COVID would be, and there was no point in really planning a completely in-person festival for everything to be shut down. So a lot of June and July process was figuring out alternatives for what the usual events are, getting feedback from you guys and anybody who was following us, especially on social media, but also anyone who was willing to chat and share their feedback. And then from there, once we started getting involved with the project leaders, which was at the end of August, we already had built in a question about, okay, what's your idea? And can it be done online? Like, if we need to have this online, can it be done? And everyone came up with a backup plan. And a lot of them actually were like, this can be done totally online or not have any in-person component. And we were like, amazing. So a lot of it, we had two plans for pretty much everything. And then once we had to make decisions, a lot of those ended up being online. And especially as we moved into December and towards our launch, we had a pretty good feeling that COVID was not going anywhere by May 2021. So yeah, it's been involved in the planning process the entire time. But yeah, so because I mentioned that this is not the first virtual festival, this Juvenis was online last year. Kate, can you tell us a little bit about how that was, kind of what we learned from it, and then how this year is going to be different?
Yeah, okay. So last year it was really crazy. I was working at Blue Canoe as an administrative assistant at the time. And it was a super quick turnaround. All of a sudden in like March, we were like, okay, we need to take everything we had planned and turn it all online within a month. So that was very crazy. Um, but basically, we use Zoom a lot. A lot of our projects we postponed just because, we couldn't just get everyone to put on a musical and make it online within a month. Like, that's just ridiculous. So we postponed them. Like, we had last 5 years happen in the fall. And High School Musical is going to be part of this festival, which is super exciting. But yeah, basically our workshop leaders, a lot of them are really flexible, and they said that they can come up with something to make it happen online. So how it worked is you registered and then you were sent like a little Zoom link, and that's how you participated in the workshops and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a very hectic time, but this year we really tried to take advantage. Like, like you said, you started working on this back in June. So we've been taking advantage of that extra time. And yeah, and just planning.
Yeah, and I mean, because everything had to shift so quickly last year, some things just weren't able to happen, like you said. And so there was definitely a lot less going on. And I think everyone was just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to wait this out. Whereas, yeah, now if we keep waiting it out, we'll never do anything. So, yeah, so I think that what we're capable of doing is a lot different, and there's a lot more that we can do because we're not asking anybody to change the plan, because it was just part of the plan. But yeah, so so Kate, can you also talk a little bit about how about what we're doing online and what we might be doing in person?
Yeah, okay. So for online, um, we have our events that like most of our workshops are going to be online, and then we also have a lot of our projects online too. So like we have a time anthology, a radio drama, stuff like that. But then in person, what we have is there will be Evil Dead the musical. So that's going to be in person. Same with Young Works, which is a dance show. And then we also have 2 workshops that'll be happening in person as well, but they'll be outside. And yeah, so those are going to be the things that we have going on in person. But Maya, could you tell us a bit about those safety procedures we have in place for in-person events?
Yes, I also just want to mention that we do have 3 workshops actually that are in person. One of them will be taking place at the Spire, hopefully. And then we also have our gallery, which will be taking place at the Tet Center. So that's in person, although you don't need to buy a ticket or anything. It's just drop in. But yeah, for safety procedures, anything in person, masks will be mandatory. We'll be doing contact tracing. Hand sanitizer will be available at the door. And all of the seating is extremely reduced for our shows, and everyone will be distanced. I think there's sets of 2 at the Baby Grand. So you could go with someone who's part of your social bubble, and then just stay distance from everybody else. We use plexiglass barriers to separate the audience from the performers. So the performers won't be masked, but that won't affect you as an audience member because there is that barrier. Also, for things like our gallery, we will be having social distance markers and like a route you can take through the gallery so that you can stay away from any other visitors. So yeah, we're definitely doing everything we can to make sure that everything stays very clean and that everyone has the opportunity to stay distanced and are following all of the proper procedures. Although I will mention now as well that if we are following provincial guidelines and municipal guidelines. So if for some reason the government says no in person, we're going into lockdown, stay at home order, something like that, like it has happened in the past, then we do have alternatives for all of these things. So all of these workshops and things will be taking place online instead. So we are working on some backup plans. So nothing is going to close, but completely. But yeah, there are a few things that we know work much better in person and that we can do safely. So I hope I answered that question. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so talking about the next one. So what kind of online programs will we be using for online events, Kate?
Yeah, so we're definitely going to be using Zoom as much as we can because we know everyone's super comfortable with Zoom at this point. We're also going to be using YouTube Premiere as well. That's just exciting because it kind of helps to add in that like element of watching a show live together, even though like the show's already been made. It's just like premiering for the first time. And you can still have like the live chat and everything like that. And then we're also going to be utilizing our website a ton too. And a new platform, or at least it was new to us. It might be new to some of you, but it's called Hopin, and that will be used for the Arts Career Expo. And basically it's set up so it's meant for like large conferences, that kind of thing. So it'll let you like set up these little booths, which are almost like breakout rooms in a sense. And you can go from like booth to booth to booth based on what you're interested in, and then you can talk to people. And what's super fun about Hopin too, like probably my favorite feature, is that there's this little connect button, and that allows you to share contact info with the person in the booth. If you're like networking and you're like, hey, we want to continue this conversation, you can just click that button and keep on chatting later. So yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely done our best to make sure that whatever platform we're using is the easiest for people to use, or the best for that specific event. Another one too is that we are working with CFRC on a few projects. So we have the True North radio drama, which will be on CFRC. We have our Viva Voce event that will be aired on CFRC, and the radio drama will be on Spotify as well.
Absolutely. So the next question is, what are the pros and cons of a virtual festival?
Yeah, so I think that the cons are pretty self-explanatory. We are not able to connect in person, which is a huge part of the arts usually. But there, it also comes with a lot of pros. We've been able to connect with people from a lot further away. So people that haven't necessarily been able to come to Kingston in the past, participate in the festival, can participate at a distance. So I think we have 7 project leaders, and in I think most of them are either, at least at some point in time, have not been in Kingston. And honestly, Kate and I are not currently in Kingston. We both have connections to Kingston. We have somewhere to go in Kingston. But as with Kate as a Queen student, and that's my hometown. But we wouldn't have been able to participate in this either. So we understand what it's like to be at a distance. And it just makes things a lot simpler. I guess in terms of time, it's easy to hop on to a Zoom call. It's not always easy to get yourself to a venue and to be able to participate in something. So yeah, I think it just allows for a lot more flexibility for people to get involved. Yeah, Kate, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it helps us too because um, for the Arts Career Expo again, for instance, like we're able to have universities like just kind of pop on to our Hop-in event platform, and they don't need to all travel to Kingston or anything like that. And same with our partnership with the New York Conservatory, they don't have to travel to Kingston. So I think it's nice too for like those people as well, and it allows us to like give you more people to um, connect with, I think, in a sense.
Yeah, I think that it just has really showed us how strong the Kingston youth arts community is. We've always known it's been there. Blue Canoe and Juvenis wouldn't be able to happen if it weren't the case. But when it would be so easy for youth to say, "Oh my gosh, this is a really stressful time. I can't do this," we've had so many people reach out and want to participate in the arts and be creative and engage with others. So it's so amazing to see. And there's lots of arts organizations. Well, I think all of the arts organizations have had to pivot a little bit with COVID. And it's just great to see that the next generation is already doing that so easily, so seamlessly. They're just there and ready to go. Yeah. um, Okay, so Kate, to you, why do you think it's important that the Juvenis Festival still happen during COVID?
I think it's important because for me personally, I know that the arts is like very much a coping strategy for a lot of people. And just in general, like there are studies that show like drawing and just getting involved in the arts does help your mental health, and it helps you feel connected to others. And I think that's all super important during this pandemic when we've been disconnected from others. There's a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty. So I think that it's just important to still have that thing that everyone can rely on during this time. And also a lot of arts events have been canceled. There's not as much funding either in schools for arts education, and we want to make sure that people still have those opportunities. So I want to make sure that we still give it to them. And also, this is a yearly festival, I don't want to say we're going to let something like a pandemic stop us when we can do it online. Like we live in the 21st century, so we have the internet and lots of things that we can do about that. So I think it's super important that we take advantage of all of those things. And what about you, Maya? Do you have any thoughts too?
Yeah, definitely what you're saying. I think we just have a lot less opportunity to get involved with the arts, things that we are already doing in our lives. I know a lot of high schools have had to cancel their musicals for this year. Some of the I teach and take dance classes. All of that's been on Zoom. So we know it's possible, but it's harder for people to kind of to get there, I guess, or sometimes with dance classes in person too, there's a very limited number of people who can be in the studio at a time. So there's less opportunity to get exposure to the arts. So there's opportunity, I guess, to stay involved, but not a lot of opportunity to get involved. And that is what Juvenis kind of stands for. It's about getting involved. It's about getting to try things and do anything like that. And especially with the Arts Career Expo, my goal was to really show people that there are careers in the arts and there are opportunities for artists and anyone who wants to work in the arts industry still. I mean, we have seen the devastating effects to the arts with a lot of unemployed actors and things like that. I mean, we've seen Broadway has been closed for over a year now. But that doesn't mean that it's gone, and it doesn't mean that it's not coming back. And if we don't prepare ourselves now, and if we as youth don't take the opportunities we can now and make that effort to try things and to get involved, then we might just stray away from the arts, and that really just that will impact what the future of the arts is. And especially in Kingston, where the arts are so important to the community, we need to keep that going. We're the next generation going in, so this is just one of the obstacles. It's a little challenge, but it's definitely not something we can overcome. So yeah. Awesome. All right. Any final thoughts, Kate?
I guess I'm just super excited to see you all, and let us know, send us an email if you're confused about the festival or have any questions or anything like that. Just let us know, and I hope to see you all there.
Yes, awesome. Well, we are so excited. Our next virtual in conversation, or our next in conversation, they're always virtual, but our next in conversation will be in the next few weeks. It will be our last one before the festival. Make sure that you tune in at 7 o'clock on April 28th for our kickoff event, and make sure you stay tuned on all of our social media platforms to get involved and to register for workshop. Registration opens April 1st, by the way. So if you want to join into any of our virtual workshops, go ahead and sign up once that opens on the 1st. Yes, so much news is coming. So please make sure that you're following along, and we really hope to see you during the festival. So thank you.